Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Hello, everyone. It is yours truly, Tosin, with I Love My HBCU ? We have laughed. We've talked about perimenopause and hair even before this recording started. I am with Brandy Walker-Johnson. And if you're blessed to be watching and not just listening, she's got this massive snake behind her head. The rattlers always come ready. Brandy, how are you this morning?
I am doing amazing this morning. I am very happy. I've been excited looking forward to meeting with you. So I'm ready to get into this conversation.
I love it. I love it. So, Brandy, before we go all into FAMU, tell us. We happen to have stalked you a little bit. I want to get into the fitness work that you do. I want to get into the wellness work that you do. Chances we should be paying you for this, but I would love it if you dropped just a couple of gems on what we could do to make sure we're taking care of our bodies and our minds. So yeah, tell us the world of Brandy Walker-Johnson.
The world of me. Well, it started, look, some years ago as a rattler. I think we all, in our collegiate career, we have aspirations to, do great things, whatever it is, we want to make an impact. So I know that however my journey shifted along the way, I knew that I wanted to make an impact in a way that brought us together, in a way that connected us all, in a way that allowed us to be transparent and sharing, just things that we battle with, things that we struggle with, things that we just need a little, we need a hand in. And so I started this journey as an educator. So I educated our youth for about 10 years before I got into wellness. But what I love about what I do now is that I still get to educate. I still get to educate our ladies about, something as simple as even stepping outside of the physical, but looking at our boundaries and how we set up our life and what it looks like, and movement and physical activity and health and wellness and exercise and nutrition. Like all of those things are part of the pieces that allow us to do everything that we want to do and reach out and touch people and connect with people like you're doing with me now. So I knew that I wanted to do that in some sort of way. And fitness became my outlet. And the more I dug into it and used it to help me on those rough days, the more I used it to help me maybe achieve a goal or to get my cholesterol down or get my blood pressure down, things that my family just struggles with in general. Those things were in my face early on. So I had to do something about it. So this was something that I think the stars just aligned me with. And this was my lifeline. And I'm just using it to impact others and touch others and just help us come together and having the conversations that we need to have about how to be healthy. No, not how to just look good, but to how to actually be good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate, oh Lord. So I really, really appreciate that for several reasons. But one of the reasons that pops into my mind is looking healthy does not mean you're healthy. And all the general, and they're particular human beings, some of them global that some of us know, some from across the pond. Sometimes just observing the way somebody is and all the things they do and thinking that they're doing all the right things does not necessarily think that they're healthy. So to hear you say, and you gave an example that I think, I'm a Black woman, so I'm going to just reference being a Black woman. You gave an example that I think most Black women can relate with, and we won't necessarily connect that with health and wellness, and that's just boundary setting.
Yeah.
Um, without having you get personal, I want you to lean into that for us a little bit, right? What are some of the lack of boundary setting that affects us? And you could go Black women, you could go humans. I'm going to be selfish, ask you to go Black women route. that ends up affecting our health in a detrimental way that we don't often pay attention to.
Mm. Well, I'm just going to start with what speaks to me in a way that, I can get emotional if I get into it too much, but our mental health. Like that is such that my mental health being challenged in a way where you're having to make adjustments in life, you're having to adapt, you're growing, you're shifting. I needed to have something to anchor me.
Hmm.
And this was something that was for me. And a lot of the times as Black women, we're just taught to just get back on there, get up, and all right, you're okay, and get back out there and go get them, kid. And like you're just taught to just push
Push through.
instead, in spite of, no matter how you feel. And sometimes you're not able to even take a minute to tap into yourself to see what you really need. What
Hmm.
do I feel? What am I thinking? Or am I just kind of operating on a sense of this is the expectation of me as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, as a career woman. So all of these responsibilities I have to make sure that I'm responsible for, but then we don't leave space for ourselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that is where we have the potential to just bring a lot of harm to ourselves if we don't take a minute to say, what do I need? It's
Absolutely.
fine that I wear these hats and I'm going to wear them well, but I can wear them best if I take best care of myself. So that was um, super important to me because I want to be whole and I want to be happy and I want to be that example for my children and for younger Black women to be able to tap into a space that says I'm going to put myself first, and um, self care is not selfish. And these are the things that I have to be sure that I'm doing so that I can be great, so that I can be a great mom, so that I can be a great friend. So a little bit of selfishness is actually a good idea when you're trying to set the foundation of how your life looks to you, how your excitement, your joy, and your success looks for you, and it looks different from me than from you than anyone else. So just figuring out what that is and defining it for you, and not feeling like you have to do what the masses are doing is super super important. So a lot of soul searching goes into that process, and I was able to use mental health, wellness, physical health, physical activity, movement. I was able to use those things to like challenge
Mm.
those boundaries and challenge the better me that I was always reaching for. So I think I've figured a few things out along the way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Something you said that, Lord have mercy, it resonated with me deeply. It's going to resonate with a lot of people is she educated our youth. You educated our youth for quite a bit before you made this transition. I'm hearing more and more of us leaving the traditional education space to seek other things. And if you what was, because listen, you just spoke about mental health,
I
and
know.
when you spoke about mental health, I could not help it. Again, I'm still an educator at the collegiate level. Burnout came to mind when I heard you say mental health and boundaries. You talked about the several hats. Lord have mercy, if you happen to be, especially, and I'm going to say especially a black woman, especially a black woman in
Yeah.
the HBCU space, let me tell you, you are wearing 25.5 hats. So when I heard you say that, and I also heard you say that you left the education space, the traditional education space, and I know that there are more and more of us leaving that space. I think it's unfair to ask why, unless if you like telling us. um, But I do think it's fair to ask you, how do you think we as a society can better support traditional educators in that space?
Hmm. We as a society, if we are parents in this society, if we have any relationship or any connection or correlation or any direct connection you have with any child, a niece, a nephew, a godchild, any opportunity that you have to volunteer to show, even if you don't have a lot to say, just to show this is what support looks like. These being a community leader, getting involved in coaching or just anything that the kids are doing, they need to see as many of us show up for them as possible. Because, well, for one, I'm an adult woman. I'm knocking on 40, and I still know how good I feel when I look around and people are showing up for me. Now, do we need it, right? Have we learned to validate ourselves at this point? Yeah, sure. But who doesn't feel just magic when you are working towards something and you're like kicking butt? Like, even if it feels like your butt is being kicked, you're kicking butt, and you have friends and family, even people that don't know you but they know your work, and they say, you know what, I'm gonna show up for you because you're making a difference. So we have to instill that in our children so early on. They cannot see that enough, and even if they do see it, they need to see more. And some
Mm,
only have opportunities outside of the house to connect with Black women, Black people, Black men also, because they're missing in a lot of these rooms that we need them in, as encouragement, and them knowing that, hey, like, I can do this, like, I can achieve, and this is hard, and maybe I'm learning something new, and maybe I'm having to step outside of my comfort zone, but I can do this because I have people who are rooting for me. So we have to just root for each other a whole lot louder than we do, a whole lot more often than we do. And we can't stop it doing that, because that right there, it sets something on fire in your soul that inspires and that ignites and that turns on your hunger to learn and your
mm.
hunger for change. So I know that our youth have it. Like, they have the potential to surpass anything that we can think of that we're going to do in our lifetime. So we have to just set the tone early on. So we got to give back. Like, in a long story short, we got to just give back. We have to give back, and we can't leave our educators to have to raise our children. We have to raise those babies.
Oh.
We have to raise them. They're there to educate. We have to raise them. So that connection is so important in our children, knowing that we are all on the same page. So if you mess up at school, oh, you're going to hear it at home. If you mess up at home, when you go to your godparents' house, you're going to hear it over there. When you go to your dad's house, you're going to hear it over there. When you go to your meeting, your leadership meeting, you're going to hear it over there. You are going to be so accountable for your actions, to where you're not going to want to disappoint the people who show up for you. So those are some things that I use with my own children, and things that we communicate consistently, because we really just want them to just get it. The light has to go off. So we just have to continue to give back. We have to continue to praise, and we have to continue to let them know when they can do better.
Brandy, anyone who has ever listened to this podcast knows I cry easily, and you almost brought me to tears. I cry easily. I don't know, and I know people are probably talking about me and like,
We
what the
don't care
F is
about
wrong with
them.
her? Because half of the time when I'm crying sometimes, honestly, Brandy, it's like, what the F are you, why is that making you cry? Like, why? But you said something, right? So I'm always writing down gems that people share. And you said something that hit me to my core. A, because I am still in the education space, but B, I wasn't raised here. And you said, don't leave our educators to raise our children. And I wanted to share this with you because it's true. Again, I wasn't raised in the United States of America. And when I came here and I heard the tagline, leave no child left behind or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
it made me think, and I did not know what it meant, not the way it's used in the US anyway. What I thought it meant is what you just described.
Right.
That's what I thought it meant. So I was really gung-ho about it. I really liked this phrase and terminology until I really, really realized what it meant. And I'm like, no,
Right.
not a fan, not a fan. But before then, I really thought it was the village showing up to help you raise your children. And Brandy, it's all but lost. It is
Yes.
all but lost. And
Yes.
that's what got me emotional, because I know what I have to go through as a traditional educator when I am showing you your child something that they're not doing, and there's no support from the parent. There's no support from a village. And so what happens with us as an educator? After a while, you just keep quiet.
Yeah.
You just keep quiet, because you're the bad person if you bring it up over and over and over again, because you're not supported. Brandy, clearly we could talk about this all day.
All
All day.
day.
All
And
day.
I
All
mean,
day.
I'm an army brat, so I grew up all over, but my roots are here, are home. And when I first started teaching, and that term came up, I think maybe a year or two later, I thought the same thing. Yeah, I thought the same thing. So you're not alone
So
there.
you understand. Yeah, yeah. But I think they need to actually get rid of that phraseology because it's not what most of us would want it to mean. All
Right.
right. I need to bring it back to Florida A&M University alum. Brandy, I love talking to you. We really could talk about all these things all day long because I feel it is coming from such a genuine and authentic space with
Yeah.
you. And I appreciate you for that. I really, really do. So,
Me too.
anybody who hears Brandy speak today, by all means, give her some love. Okay. Um, Brandy, I am going to treat you to our rapid fire segment. I'm going to throw as many
Okay.
questions at you as possible, and I'm looking forward to your answers. Are you ready?
I guess I have to be, huh?
You have to be. You have to be. You have to be.
There's no study guide or
No,
anything. So
zero, zero, zero.
here
This
we
is going to
go.
be fun. This is going to be fun. Describe your HBCU experience in one word.
Oh, insane.
Insane. I love that one.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that's the first one.
But in like the best, worst,
Way.
crazy way, craziest way. Like it was insane.
I'm coming back to that. I'm coming back to that. We're going to talk about that later. If your time in college was a song, what song would it be?
Oh, it would be I like it like that. She working that I don't know how to act slow motion. Because some days it was just, you know, it was a vibe.
Yes.
We especially working through that freshman year. So slow motion, juvenile.
I love it. I love it. I love this. I love this. Ooh. What would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't?
Hmm. Oh, I did not tell her, oh gosh, like how much I loved her. I told her later, but just how much I appreciated just everything about her. Just her. You see me now, my voice is I'm a crybaby like you, but I would have told her just how much I appreciate just who she is. I mean, we came from two totally different backgrounds, but when I say she had a heart of gold and she was considerate beyond what she had to and
Mm.
supportive, and she didn't even know me. We didn't know each other in that way. So I would have told her how much she means to me. I think I'll make sure I tell her now.
I love that. Guys, there
Yeah,
are some good college roommates out there because
there
sometimes you hear
are.
the horrible ones. There's some great college roommates out there. They just told me that my time is up, but I'm always going to take the liberty to ask a couple more questions. And I'm
Let's
going
go.
to shout out your favorite professor and what did they teach?
Oh gosh, my favorite professor. I was a member of the Marching 100. So my favorite professors are in the College of Music, Dr. White, Dr. Julian E. White, Dr. Chipman, Lindsay B. Sargent, the whole staff.
The
Like they
whole
were
staff.
all of them, all of them.
I love it. Brandy, on a scale, and you're going to be honest, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a student were you?
1 to 10. I was a pretty good student, I would say now, but I also saw the students that like made me look like I wasn't leveling up enough. Like, oh gosh. So I would say, right, you okay. I would say about an 8. I would
8.
say I was an 8. Yeah.
I'm giving you a 10. You're giving me
I'll
10
take it.
energy. So I'm
I'll
giving you
take it.
10. I'm
I'll
giving you
take it.
10. Okay, last question. Last question. If you remember, what was your best meal in college?
Oh,
Like on the campus?
on the campus, my best meal and my go-to was right on the set. I would have just a cheeseburger and fries, and it just was bussing. It hit every time. So I had it like almost every other day.
I love it.
So
I
so
love
that was
it.
it.
So, Brandy, I was about to call them kids, but the current HBCU Now students, I can't remember what school it was, but we had a guest on not too long ago. Do you know they get oxtails on some of their college campuses? I was like, what? Why was I not treated to oxtails and plantains and all of that stuff
Wait a minute.
in their cafeteria, like in on college, on campus, not externally?
Do you know how expensive oxtails are? Oxtails? Look, and now we see how everything oxtails? What?
Oxtails. When
Yeah.
because I asked that question of an HBCU now, and they're like, "Oh
Wow.
yeah, oxtails." I was like, "Wait, what?" On your like, yeah, one of their days. I can't remember what day it is. They literally
Wow.
serve oxtails in their
Yeah.
cafeteria.
Yeah. We
Lord
feel
have
like they
mercy.
brought out all the great stuff when we left. Like we go back,
Absolutely.
like we just celebrated our 20th this past fall.
Okay.
So just to see, I'm
Like
like,
all
okay,
the
so now,
stuff.
so we were so grateful with what we had, and
Of
now these
course,
babies, with these young adults have oxtails.
they have
Wow.
oxtails. They have
I need to
oxtails.
re-enroll.
No, seriously, seriously. That's what I thought when I said I'm coming
Wow.
to visit your campus on the day they serve it, just for that. I'm just being honest, just for that, nothing
And make
else.
sure you let me know so I can tag along,
I will,
okay?
and I think it's in the South too.
It
So
has to
it's
be.
it's in the South. It's in the South.
Okay.
I'm gonna get the school, and we'll do a trip together down there. You are proudly Atlanta. You went to school in Florida. I know they're not far, but you could have gone anywhere. How Give us your college selection journey. How did you go from Atlanta, where you've got Spelman, where you've got Clark Atlanta University, and they're going to hate me for not mentioning all of the HBCUs in Atlanta, but you've got quite a few of them. How did you end up at Florida A&M University?
It was a no-brainer for me. Now, I am a musician, so my high school band director was also a rattler. He was also on the Marching 100. He played French horn, same instrument I played. So that was helpful. And then once I started actually researching the school, I said, wow, this school has really they look now they have a good time and they celebrate each other and they party, honey, but like they really achieve and they show up. And I saw Black excellence in a way that I had never seen it before because
Mm.
my rearing had always been very, very diverse, and sometimes, I was one of few brown faces. So this was an experience that I felt like I had to have. And once I was fortunate enough to have a teacher, someone close enough to me that I could just pick his brain and ask him questions. I did. I took full advantage, and that was my first choice. My parents did say, "Hey, we gotta look at some other schools first. We need to look at." So
Sure.
I looked at, I put an application in for those other guys in Daytona. I just slid it in. TSU was on the list. Spelman was definitely on the list. Howard was on the list, but FAMU was that was where that spoke to my heart. So that made my decision pretty easy.
I love it. I love it. It sounds as if you knew before you knew, and so the choice kind of got made for you,
Yeah.
and not made for you by others, but the choice was already made, is what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
we know that you've got, I don't want to call them babies, because if they hear this, they're going to be like, "Why is mommy just calling us babies all the time?" But
They
you've got
are.
two. She's like, they are.
They are. Look, as long as they are in my pocket the way they are my babies, but they will always
Listen,
be.
listen. This is a very unfair question that I ask parents this all the time for kicks and giggles, right? Which I want to twist it on you.
Mm-mm.
Which HBCU would you pick for your kids? Take FAMU off the table.
Okay.
Take FAMU off the table.
Okay.
Which, because they see it, guys, she's got a massive rattler behind her head, so yeah, there's that. Take FAMU off the table. Which
Okay.
HBCU would you be like, yeah, I'd pick this for this one, I'd pick this for that one? We're just
Okay.
talking. You're not the parent that's gonna tell your kids this is where they must go. We know
Right.
that, but you can throw a few things out there. Which one would you pick for each,
Huh.
and why? And why?
And why? I'm going to start with my son. My son is 13, and the way his mind works has always been just really interesting to me and most of his teachers, even when it was overly working. I would definitely say he's into engineering and coding and science. I would say I'm gonna Howard has to be on that list, right? Howard's on that list, and then I'm gonna have to, kind of step out the box and say, oh, we're only doing HBCUs though.
Yes, we
only
are. For
HBCUs.
right now. For right now.
Howard, it's going to be Howard for him, I would say.
I know I asked the question,
You did.
so I should leave you with your answer.
No, 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 give it to me. Please give it.
And I am a Howard University alum, by the way. That's
Okay,
where I got my
okay.
last 2 degrees.
Nice.
But you said engineering, and it would be a disservice of me if I did not ask you. And I'm going to throw 2 universities at you. I was
Okay.
going to be unfair and just throw one. And the one I was going to throw at you is my academic home, Morgan State University, because we
Okay.
do have
Okay.
one of the best engineering programs in the country. Do the research. Don't
Okay.
take my word for it. Do not take my word for it. Do the research and you'll realize, oh, okay, yeah, she's not lying. But I'm
Yes.
going to throw another one at you
Okay.
just because I need to be fair here. North Carolina A&T
Okay.
also has a pretty good engineering program. So, okay,
Okay.
thought I'd throw those
I
ones
have
at you.
homework. I have homework to
Yes,
do. I mean, because
yes,
we have to get them where they are most successful.
absolutely.
So I receive. Look, I'm gonna give him the homework assignment actually because it's his future. So we're gonna research
Absolutely.
that.
But tell him there is a young-ish lady out there called Tosin who is willing to work with him on his research whenever he's
Absolutely.
ready.
Absolutely. And it will be so appreciated. Listen,
Absolutely.
the village, we have to show up. Yes.
The village, the village. Okay, so that was one, and your other?
My daughter, I would say now she is 15, but she's trying to kind of navigate what she wants to do exactly.
Okay,
She knows
okay,
she wants to do something in business.
okay.
Um,
Oh, she's
she's been
gorgeous.
looking at Spelman. She's been looking at just that community of girls. I think that would be great for her. And because she is such a girl's girl, I think that type of support and that closeness, I think that'll be a good experience for her as well.
I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
throw it. I'm not gonna throw any other options at you. I'm not. Based on what you've described, Spellman gives that sisterhood that is wow.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the only word I have is I know there are sisterhoods everywhere else. I know you have your sisterhood of friends from FAMU, but then you look at what Spellman does with those community of girls,
Yes.
and I dare you to try to penetrate with them.
Yes.
It is a strong, beautiful bond that at least on the outside looking in, I observe it to be really, really special.
Yes. I'm getting
Thanks for
chills.
allowing me to be so unfair, because that's such an unfair question. So thanks for allowing me to be so unfair. But hey, listen. Um,
Listen.
Brandy, what would you tell your freshman self today?
Mm. Ah, that kind of goes back to my song, slow motion. Just slow down, like take your time. And when I say take your time, that is from the friends you choose, the career you choose, the jobs you accept, the things that you allow from yourself. Just take your time and like really figuring out what those things are before you make decisions and choices that are so final or could be so final. Take your time. It's no rush. It's no rush, to get married first, to have the career you want first, to have the baby first, to have the house first, the car. Like it's no rush, and sometimes when we are so focused on those things, like we get there fast and we crash and we burn. So just slow down. Slow down. Take your time.
Brandy, it's a consistent theme now. Almost every HBCU alum that I get to speak to, that I'm honored to speak to on this podcast, will say something similar with regards to either what they would have told themselves or what they would want to tell our current cohort of freshmen, sophomore students. The fact that everybody consistently says it tells me that nobody's going to listen.
Because we didn't listen.
Because we didn't listen. Because we didn't listen. So you know where I'm going. Because we didn't
Right.
listen.
We
And
didn't.
that blows my mind because I could not agree with all of you anymore. And especially the way you just broke it down. You broke it down for all of the categories, not just slow down in college, but no, all the decisions you're making. Like take your time.
Please.
take your time. Like, don't rush it, because life that's waiting for us out there is going to life at you hard.
Honey,
What? She's like, honey.
honey. Hang you upside down off the balcony by your ankles. I mean, and that comes with it. So, take your time, slow down.
Why didn't we listen? And I'm asking you to put on your, because as a wellness coach, the reality is, I bet you there are a bunch of people that come to you for talk therapy, whether you like it or not. So I'm asking you to put that hat on as well.
Okay.
Why didn't we listen, and why aren't they going to listen? Like, what
Hmm.
what is it about us that, why didn't they listen? Why didn't we listen?
It's and this is probably a gift and a curse. We think that we know more. We think that we have it figured out. We think that maybe that was your experience, but that won't be my experience. We just kind of feel like sometimes it's an arrogance, and I don't mean that in a way that's negative at all, but it's just, it's yeah. Look, in a nutshell, like that's ultimately what it is. And we want to know, we want to feel that because we are growing up and we are these young adults, that I can make this decision. Like I can make this decision, and mom, you don't know what you're talking about because
That
you're an
was your
old lady.
time. Yeah.
You're an old lady and you've never been 19, you've never been 20, you've never like had any, disagreements or any struggles or
Yeah.
anything that you failed from. We like to look at those people like they aren't human. And it's not until we get older we realize how human our parents are, how human the people who tried to teach us, like they really knew what they were talking about. So we got to just keep on. Look, we have to keep telling them someone's going to listen, right?
That's
Someone's
true.
going to
That's
listen.
true.
And there are some that actually do. And those are the ones that stand out. Those are the ones that shine because they realize that my path isn't your path, but I want to order my steps because I want to get this thing as right as possible and save myself as much heartache and stress and struggle as possible, as much
Yeah.
as we can. Yeah.
No, you're right. I have nothing to add, not a single thing, because you could not be, no, you could not be more right. You really could not be more right. Wow. Brandy, when I embarked on this journey, and some days I ask myself, who sent you to do this, Tosin? Like, what?
Who sent you?
But I am grateful for the Brandy Walker-Johnsons of the world who are willing to come on this platform and showcase what HBCUs produce, to showcase a singular voice. I know when we say HBCUs, and we know that everyone that walks through all these hallowed walls are different, getting to hear the differences in their voices matters. You've said so many things that have resonated so well that I'm
Mhm.
hopeful resonate with more than just Tosin, and resonate with, I do this as a love letter to our current students, believe it or not.
I
And
love
you
that.
said somebody is going to listen. Somebody. So I'm hoping you're right. Not I'm hoping you're right. I know you are right. I'm hoping more than just one person. Here's Brandy say that somebody's going to listen to the fact that slowing down is actually going to help you in the long run, as opposed to speeding through it like Tosin did. And she should have slowed down. And Brandy, thanks for
And
not leaving
me.
me hanging, Brandy. Thank you so much.
You are not alone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope they hear, because here's what I think they have that we did not have. And I'm not going to boil it all down to just social media. I'm not going to do that. I do think they've got heightened pressures on them that we did not have to deal with.
Yeah.
And if, for those who might say, no, Tosin, we had to deal with it as well, maybe we did, but it wasn't so public. It wasn't so in your face. It wasn't so multidimensional that you are questioning every single thing about yourself almost every single day. I don't think we had that.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
because I don't think we had that, I actually think they need to slow down a little bit more than we needed to. So from your lips to their ears, I hope more than one or two people hear what you said. I really do.
Yeah.
Really, really do. Brandy, I know you love Florida A&M University, but I always ask this question. What is the one?
I can already feel it. Look, and I'm like,
She's like, no, no, I have to. I have to. I have
okay.
to. What is the one thing? Let me switch it up just because it's Brandy. What is the one thing you think Florida A&M University could do a little bit better?
Mm, mm. The one thing, and I hear like my people behind me like, say it, say it, say
Say
it.
it. Say it.
So, our some of the ways that we get resources to our students and the way, I mean, that registrar's office, Lord have mercy. Um, I mean, just it wasn't as, hopefully things are different and things have, moved along, but at the time, like it was really hard, like handling business on a day to
Mm,
day.
mm,
With if it was a schedule change, if it was, I mean, certain things, just the time wasn't always of the essence, and so to speak. And that's very much a Midwestern way of, just we'll get to it. It wasn't a hurry or a rush for a lot of things. So I guess that probably would be the one thing that I would say in terms of just getting things done more timely, just that connection and that follow up and follow through. But what it did was it forced me to be someone that follows up. It forced me to be someone that keeps a paper trail. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, I talked to this person on this day, and this person told me this, and they said this, and who did you talk to on this day? They told me this. So like making sure that you are a fact checker, making sure that you follow up, because ultimately it's your money that you need. It's your schedule that you need updated. It's your whatever the change that you need it. So it definitely instilled in me the art of like you got to go get it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They say there are no they say there are no wasted experiences. So, and it's why I asked that question because of course things are the totality of our experiences
Right.
from a lot of our HBCUs are good, but there are some moments during that whole
Like,
experience that you're
like
like,
you got
really,
wait, waiting on his net check. Like,
really.
where's my check?
But it taught us some things, and
Yeah,
I use this to implore our current students to rise above. It doesn't mean I'm condoning because some of the systems are still a little crappy, Brandy. They really, really are.
yeah,
But don't allow that to take away from the totality of your experience, and it will teach you something that you will use in the future. We've covered a lot. You've been so kind, but I know there's got to be one or two things that, okay, Tosin, would have wanted you to ask me this. Is there something that I have not prodded you with that you'd love to bless the audience with?
Hmm. I can't say that I have any one thing that you didn't touch on. I feel like you touched on different aspects of my life and things that make me who I am, and make me who I am. Uh, but I always can talk more about how important it is for us to take care of ourselves, right? How important it is for us to not ignore signs when we know that something is changing in our bodies, when we know that we feel differently. We have tendency to feel something and excuse it. Oh, well, I'm okay. That's just, and we diagnose ourselves, and we aren't the medical professional. So I really want us to do better with listening to our bodies.
Yeah,
I feel like if we do that, we can stop a whole lot of things before they have potential to just wreak havoc through our bodies. If we have the conversations that we need to have and we aren't afraid to voice what we're struggling with, we can get the help that we need when it comes to our wellness, when it comes to our Our labs and our numbers when it comes to our mental health, anything that we're struggling with or we have a question or concern about, we just need to ask the question so that we can get the help that we need. And that's whatever it is, no matter how big, no matter how small. And definitely hire or bring in some medical professionals, some healthcare professionals that can help you achieve whatever your goals are, your health goals, your wellness goals, whatever's going on with you that you may need someone to assist you with. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to say that I'm struggling. Like, really do the work to prioritize your number one. Your number one.
I appreciate you. I appreciate
Yeah.
listen. The one I heard you say that resonates like crazy. Listen to your body. Like listen to your body. I appreciate that. Brandy, finish this sentence for me. Because of my experience at my HBCU, I will not
Make myself small to make anyone feel comfortable with who they are. Not ever, not now, no way, no how. On my worst day. Never. The end. Look, what they said, period. Yeah.
That hit
Yeah.
hard. That hit hard. That hit hard. Brandy, leave our audience with a parting word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs.
Mm. I love HBCUs because it is a family away from home. It is friendships that last you a lifetime, people who are able to see you throughout your worst, best, most highlighted and celebrated times, and also pick you up during those times where you need it most and remind you of who you are. So, HBCUs are family. That's love.
Brandy Walker-Johnson, thank you. Thank you. To those watching, to those listening, I have enjoyed every minute of this conversation with Brandy Johnson, alumna of Florida A&M University. And I hope you have enjoyed watching and listening. I also hope I have earned the pleasure of you subscribing to I Love My HBCU question mark. How could you not like this episode, this specific episode, because of Brandy Walker-Johnson?
That's right.
Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Brandy, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You've been listening to I Love My HBCU question mark. Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.